All right, so I meant to start on this a little bit earlier. I have an old house built in 1914, and you'll see all along the roof it's got these supports. I believe they're called Corbels. That's according to my cousin who's an engineer. I just call them roof supports. But anyway, one of the we're getting ready to have the house roofed, and one of the places that I was talking to quoted me an insane amount for the roof, and then they wanted another $4,000 because my roof is starting to sag. So let's see if I can get a shot up this way so you can get a look at it. And I'm doing this because I didn't see a lot of videos on YouTube. I don't know if you can see that. The tree branch is kind of in the way, but it kind of takes a dive as you look at the screen to the left, to the outside of the house. Well, I wasn't going to pay $4,000 to get these replaced, and a lot of them are kind of rotten. So we'll come around to the other side of the house, and I'll show you the ones we already did. And I was going to start this from scratch and kind of show everybody what we did, but you can see we replaced 3 of them over here, and we got the roof jacked up. My fascia's all rotten there. This second one, and then that one over there by the little window, they didn't have there were no studs behind the supports. So what they did was, when they had built it, they actually just nailed from the inside of the house and sucked those in. And those really aren't carrying a lot of weight anyway. The ones that are carrying all the weight, at least on this house, is this end one up here and that end one over there. And then this one right at the top, there's about that much gap in there. So it's just those 2 fascia pieces pushing against each other, and so all the weight is down here on this end. So again, really it was just the top was rotten on those boards. So we took some 6x6s, cut them down to 4.5 by 4.5, and then we cut out the top and we put those in, and then we lowered the roof back on it, and it's actually nice and flat now. Here's my apparatus. Basically used my floor jack, screwed it to the side of the fascia board there, and jacked that up. And then there are just a ton of nails up in there. I mean, it's really surprising. These old boys, you know, how much nails will hold. I got a before picture. I don't know how well it'll show up on my phone, but you can see now the roof is relatively flat. There's a little wave, but it's been sagging for a long time. You can also, if you can just barely get up in there, you can see how much it pulled away from the house. You know, you figure those are 3 foot long, so over the course of that, you know, 1/4 of an inch pull away from the house, which is probably about what that is, it's going to cause that roof line to drop quite a bit. Plus they rot out, so then the fascia settles down on that, so you've got a couple of things working against you. Oh, one other thing that we did is kind of a cheat, because, you know, this is the good old, you know, old growth wood. One of the other cheats that we did was, the boards are 4.5 by 4.5, but what we actually did was we cut it 4.5 wide, so it's the right width, but we cut it about 4 3/4 tall, so that once it straightens out, and then once you put this in there, it'll account for any compression, you know, over time, and also the fact that, you know, there was a little sag up there, and hopefully that really levels the roof out. And it really did wonders on the other side. So just a couple of things to think about. You can see how rotten that board was. So really there was only that little spot back there that was holding everything up, and it's rotten clear back in there. So we've got a combination of termites, and also the fact that this has just taken weather for, you know, again, this house is 102 years old right now, so it was time for some maintenance. But if you look in there, there's one nail, but there's a bunch of nails in there once I get this thing popped apart. So you'll want to run your Sawzall down through here, just enough to get a gap. You don't want to really mess up your angle here. And then get a breaker bar in there and pry it a little bit, and then you can run your Sawzall through a little bit easier, and then I pop it up until this comes loose. We had nails all in here, and man, those old nails, those things grip. And then you had some nails up and down in here. So this one had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 nails, and then it had some that were toe-nailed back into the corner of the house here, and you can see there's still a couple that are left. And then if you look at the end of the board there, you can see it, And here, I'll drop this down so you can see how rotten that was. There you go. Getting a good look at it. Hopefully the focus is okay. But so we've got this all cut out. I'm basically just gonna get this nail out. I'm gonna pre-drill a couple of holes in here and pound this back into the house, and then I'm gonna lag bolt it here and here. I used a wrench last time, but I'm gonna use my air impact this time. And then also I will pull this out, and I have one of those plunge cut tools, and because you went 1/4 of an inch taller on that board, at least for me, I'm gonna have to plunge cut this out just a little bit so it fits, but it's pretty protected under the weather, so that's the least of my concerns. I just want to make sure the thing doesn't pull out again. Here's a look at what I'm using to put it back together. So the lags we did in through the wall here. You can see 2 of them in the upright, and then I brought 2 down from up above to hold that together. And then up here, what we'll do is we'll take these T-star lag screws, and we'll put a couple up through here to hold it in place, and then we'll put a couple more down here to help make sure that that's all supported back together. What I love about these lag screws is I've already got this fat head, so you don't need a washer, and the fact that you don't have to pre-drill. So that's kind of nice. I'm actually I'm just using an 18-volt Ryobi here, which has driven quite a few of these. It's actually starting to wear the drill out. If you look up, all of them look like they kind of slowed down away from the house, and I assume that that's the way it's supposed to be. So when it rains on them, the water doesn't run back to the house. Somebody that's, you know, watching this that does this for a living, I'm sure will correct me and tell me I'm wrong or right, and you'll criticize my work or you'll say it's great. But anyway, I just wanted to give you guys an idea on how to do it, because when I kind of looked around on YouTube, I didn't really see anything. I saw showing me what they were. Anyway, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna let the weight off this. There we go. Jack's out. It's sitting there. It's all on it. And if we look up the roof line, it's substantially better than it was. Actually, there's a little bit, it looks like a slope in the sheeting, but the edge looks good now, which it didn't before. So anyway, there you go. That's kind of a how-to on how I did my roof. Hopefully it helps somebody.